Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Hurricane Helene kills at least 90 in the US. Typhoon Krathon forecast to hit Taiwan's populated west coast. Israel continues to hit Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, pounds Houthis in Yemen as violence widens. And Japan's Prime Minister designate Ishiba Shigeru calls a snap election on 27th October, seeks to unify party. The US calls for a diplomatic resolution as concerns of an all-out conflict in Lebanon rises. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has in the meantime cemented his political position at home. Our next report gets you the details.
The Israeli military has been amassing tanks along the Lebanon border as West Asia remains on the edge days after Israel eliminated Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. In its latest strike on Beirut, Israel killed Fateh Sharif, the head of Lebanon branch of Hamas. Another Palestinian group called the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine also said that 3 of its leaders were killed in an Israeli airstrike on the city. Israel has vowed to keep up the attacks, saying that it wants to secure its northern areas whose residents have been forced to flee Hezbollah rocket attacks. Israeli forces also targeted Yemen's Hodeidah port, which lies in the area controlled by Iran-backed Houthi rebels. As tensions escalate, calls for calm have been rising, with the US calling for a diplomatic resolution to avert an all-out war in Lebanon. US has also authorized its military to reinforce in the region.
We really have to avoid it. We've already taken precautions relative to our embassies and personnel who want to leave, but we're not there yet, but we're working like hell with the French and many others to keep it good.
In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government has received a major boost after a prominent opposition lawmaker joined its camp.
I appreciate the fact that Gideon Sa'ar accepted my request and agreed today to return to the government. This move contributes to the unity within us, also contributes to the unity against our enemies. During the discussions of the political and security cabinet, I was very impressed by Sa'ar's broad vision and his ability to offer creative solutions to complicated problems.
This has given the government a solid majority of 68 in the 120-seat parliament, meaning that Netanyahu's conflict policies would face lesser political opposition. Bureau Report, DD India.
In a major development in the ongoing tensions in Lebanon, the country's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati has said that the government is ready to fully implement a UN resolution that had aimed to end Hezbollah's armed presence south of the Litani River. Mikati said that Lebanon was ready to deploy its army south of the river upon the implementation of a ceasefire. Now, this comes as Israeli forces pound Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. The 2006 Israel-Hezbollah war culminated in the UNSC Resolution 1701, which called for a full Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon and that the Lebanese army and the UN peacekeepers be the only armed forces south of the Litani River. At least 37 Islamist militants were killed in 2 US airstrikes in Syria this month. The US military has said that those killed included senior leaders of the Islamic State and an Al-Qaeda affiliate based in Syria. The military added that the strikes took place on the 16th and 24th of September. Russia launched several waves of drones targeting Kyiv early Monday. Ukraine's air defense repelled the attack, which lasted more than 5 hours. Numerous explosions were heard in Kyiv, indicating the operation of defense systems intercepting objects in the air. All the drones were either destroyed or neutralized by electronic warfare, with no casualties or significant damage reported. Drone debris fell near a residential building, but emergency services quickly responded. Ukraine's Air Force confirmed shooting down 67 out of 73 drones and one missile launched by Russia. At a rally in the U.S. state of Pennsylvania, Donald Trump unleashed sharp criticism at his 2024 presidential rival Kamala Harris, calling her stupid and said she should be prosecuted for alleged failure to stop illegal migrants from entering the U.S. and committing crimes. Citing U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement data, Trump claimed that over 13,000 convicted migrant killers remain free, alleging Harris led them in. However, DHS officials later clarified that the data spans several decades and many of these migrants are in custody. Pennsylvania, a key battleground state in the upcoming election, has become central to Trump's campaign as both he and Harris vie for its critical electoral college votes. Trump's rally marks his fourth campaign stop in the state this month, underscoring its importance.
Already hundreds of people have been murdered because of her action at the border, and thousands more will follow in rapid succession. She should be impeached and prosecuted for her actions.
For her part, Kamala Harris energized a crowd in Las Vegas on Sunday night local time, focusing her speech on the upcoming election while addressing the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Speaking in a competitive swing area previously visited by Donald Trump, Harris took jabs at the former president, criticizing his crowd sizes, refusal to debate, and privileged background.
I'm trying to debate Donald Trump again, and I think he should debate again. The American people have a right to hear us discuss the issues. And as you say here in Las Vegas, I'm all in. I'm all in. Even if my opponent is ready to fold. So there you go.
Harris also spoke passionately about Helene's devastation, expressing solidarity with affected communities and speaking about relief efforts.
More than 3,300 federal personnel have been mobilized. We are deploying food, water, and generators and working to restore water and power. And the President and I have told state and local leaders we will provide whatever help they need in the days and weeks ahead.
In Austria, the far-right Freedom Party topped the national election on Sunday, underlining rising support for hard-right parties in Europe, fueled by concern over immigration levels. Analysts are terming it as an earthquake, sending shockwaves across Europe. Like other far-right parties elsewhere in Europe, the Freedom Party has seen its popularity surge, fed by voter anger over migration, inflation, and COVID-19 restrictions.
Projected results give Austria's far-right Freedom Party leader Herbert Kickell's party 28.8%. That is more than 2 points ahead of the Conservative People's Party on 26.3%, but far short of a majority. He says this win has opened the door to a new era.
We have opened the door to a new era. We are now really going to write this new chapter in Austrian history together. When I say that we have made history, I mean two things. On the one hand, we have made party history. Yes, George Hather's famous 26.9%. I think he would forgive us for jumping over that today. On the contrary, he would be proud of us. And the second thing is that we have made Austrian history because this is the first time that the Freedom Party has been number one in the National Council election.
Kickell espouses the far-right concept of remigration, expelling people of non-European ethnic backgrounds deemed to have failed to integrate. Across Europe, the popularity of far-right movements is rooted in the multiple crises to which European Union citizens have been exposed since 2008. The financial crisis, the 2015 refugee crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, and now the war in Ukraine. 6 EU countries, Italy, Finland, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, and the Czech Republic, have hard right parties in government. In Sweden, the survival of the executive relies on a confidence and supply agreement with the nationalist Sweden Democrats, the second largest force in parliament. In the Netherlands, Geert Wilders sealed a historic deal to form the most right-wing government in recent Dutch history. In last month's European parliamentary elections, right-wing and far-right parties achieved their best performance in the legislative body's history. The vote share of right-leaning parties is increasing at varying degrees of pace in each country. The far right now faces the challenge of unity and its ability to bring together forces that are still divided within the parliament. While many of these parties are united in their opposition to immigration, their criticism of European integration, and their rejection of the Green Pact, there are still dividing lines around Ukraine, relations with Russia, the EU's major economic and monetary policies, and the defense of traditional values. Bureau Report, DD India.
Japan's incoming Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru said on Monday that he will call a general election on 27th October. Ishiba won the leadership of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party on Friday, and he was expected to be sworn in as Prime Minister on Tuesday. A former defense minister, Ishiba replaced Kishida Fumio as leader of the LDP, which has governed Japan almost uninterrupted for decades. He won the LDP leadership race on his 5th attempt with strong backing from rank-and-file members.
On October 1st, when I am elected in Parliament to become Prime Minister, I will immediately form a cabinet and establish an administration. Once we organize for a snap election, I would like to call for a general election on October 27th.
US President Joe Biden has approved a $567 million in defense support for Taiwan. In a statement, the White House said that Biden had delegated the Secretary of State the authority to direct the drawdown of up to $567 million in defense articles, services of the Department of Defense, and military education and training to provide assistance to Taiwan. The move aims to strengthen Taiwan's military amid increasing tensions with China. Meanwhile, China continues to oppose U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, which it claims as its territory. Pakistan has announced a series of measures to minimize its administrative expenditures as part of reforms agreed upon with the International Monetary Fund under the $7 billion loan deal. The country has eliminated nearly 1.5 lakh government jobs, closed 6 ministries and merged 2 others. The IMF had finally agreed to an assistance package for Pakistan and released more than $1 billion as the first tranche on 26th September. The country has committed to cut expenditures, increase tax to GDP ratio, tax non-traditional sectors such as agriculture and real estate, limit subsidies and transfer some fiscal responsibilities to the provinces. Pakistan negotiated the loan, expressing hope and commitment that this will be the last loan. The country has already received around 24 loans from the fund without achieving lasting economic solutions. And now take a look at what else is making news around the world. Britain will become the first G7 nation to end coal-fired power as Uniper's Radcliffe-on-Soar plant shuts down on Monday, marking the end of more than 140 years of coal power. Coal once provided nearly 30% of the nation's electricity, but this dropped to just over 1% last year. The move is part of the country's efforts to cut emissions and reach net zero by 2050. Spain's Coast Guard rescued at least 77 migrants from a wooden boat near El Hierro while searching for 48 missing people from a previous deadly wreck. The earlier sinking claimed at least 9 lives, with 27 survivors rescued from a total of 84 migrants. Shortly after, another migrant boat was found heading towards the same port. Former Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte has been appointed as NATO Secretary General, succeeding Jens Stoltenberg. He will assume his functions as Secretary General from 1st October. Rutte's leadership comes at a crucial time for the alliance amid ongoing global challenges. And still to come on DD India Live. India and the US celebrate 30th September as Partnership Day. Nearly 200 dead and 100 missing as floods and landslides wreak havoc in Nepal. India sounds flood alert for 13 districts of Bihar state bordering Nepal. And foreign ministers of India and the US to meet in Washington, D.C.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Floods and landslides across South Asia have killed more than 100 people and caused widespread destruction in other parts of the world, including the US. As the impact of climate change intensifies, here is a report on the current weather situation in different parts of the world.
The impact of climate change is witnessed in different parts of the globe. Its adverse effects has disrupted normal life around the world. Catastrophic floods and landslides have caused havoc across South Asia. India's eastern state Bihar is grappling with severe flooding followed by heavy rainfall. The excess release of water from Kosi Barrage in the city of Birpur has made living conditions worse. Homes were filled with water and farmers are facing a loss of agriculture as crops are destroyed. Railway tracks were inundated, affecting several train operations. 45,000 homes are left with no electricity as water entered the control room of a power grid in the region. Rescue efforts are underway in Nepal amid flooding that has killed at least 192 people. 42 people are still reportedly missing in the Himalayan public. Rescue teams are using rafts to pull survivors to the safety. Major roads are blocked, leaving cars stranded on highways and disrupting domestic air travel. Nepal has shut its school for 3 days. Taiwan on Monday issued a warning as Typhoon Krathon is expected to intensify and cross its west coast, resulting in torrential rain and strong winds. Categorized as a medium-strength typhoon, it is forecasted to hit southern Taiwan on Wednesday. Meanwhile, domestic flights have been cancelled and some are disrupted. Hurricane Helene has left widespread destruction across southeastern US and killed at least 90. Search and rescue efforts are underway as more bodies are feared to be recovered. Strong winds, rains and storm surge has left millions with no power. It has destroyed roads and bridges from Florida to Virginia. People are unable to contact their family members as cell phone towers are submerged and some even destroyed completely. The damage is estimated to be ranging from $15 billion to more than $100 billion and could take months to repair. In Mexico, residents struggle to find food and drinking water amid heavy rainfall that triggered flash floods. Streets and homes were submerged and people were evacuated on the boats. The deadly floods and landslides have left at least 22 people dead. Many countries are trying to take measures to reduce global warming as extreme weather events are expected to get worse in the following years. Bureau Report, DD India.
The US Senate has designated 30th September as the India-US Partnership Day. The US Embassy in India highlighted that the United States' partnership with India is stronger, closer and more dynamic than any time in history. It also recognized the contribution of both the countries to one another. The embassy said the India-US relationship defines the 21st century. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on a visit to the US last week and had announced the setting up of consulates in Boston and Los Angeles. The US mission to India announced the opening of 250,000 new visa appointment slots on Monday. It comes within days of Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US, where he held meetings with President Joe Biden. The new lots will be allocated to Indian travelers applying under various categories, including tourists, skilled workers, and students. A post shared by the US Embassy in India says the US mission to India has already surpassed 1 million non-immigrant visa applications for the second consecutive year. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will meet his US counterpart Antony Blinken in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, during which they are expected to discuss a wide range of bilateral, regional and global issues, including the Ukraine-Russia conflict and the West Asia conflict as well. Minister Jaishankar, who arrived in the US capital on Sunday, will also meet other cabinet rank and senior Biden and government officials. The minister is also scheduled to interact with the think tank community. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. Andrew Holness, has arrived in India on a 4-day visit. This is his first visit to India and also the first ever bilateral visit of a Prime Minister of Jamaica to India. Prime Minister Holness will hold talks with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and call on the President and Vice President. A number of MOUs are expected to be signed. India and Jamaica share strong historical and cultural linkages reflected in their shared colonial past, values of democracy and freedom, and passion for cricket. A group of Indian Police Service probationers of regular recruits batch 2023 called on President Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan on Monday. The President told the probationers that among the various All India services, the Indian Police Service has a critical importance of its own. She said India aims to scale new heights in the years to come, and therefore the role of the IPS officers becomes all the more crucial. The President expressed happiness over the sharp jump in the number of women IPS officers in recent years. The Consumer Electronics and Durables Summit 2024 took place in New Delhi on Monday with Amardeep Singh Bhatia, Secretary of Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, presiding over the inaugural session. In his speech, he emphasized India's potential to transform its consumer electronics and durables sector into a key driver of economic growth and job creation. He also highlighted the importance of capitalizing on emerging opportunities, enhancing value chain integration, and addressing current challenges to strengthen India's global market position. The summit underscores India's growing influence in this critical sector.
The consistent growth which is there in our GDP, if we've been the largest growing economy in the large economy in the world for the last many years, and we expect to continue on that path. And this is despite the setback of the COVID pandemic. We've also focused on promoting an innovation ecosystem with startups. Startup India has been pretty successful in bringing in interest entrepreneurs to start up, to create innovation, to create new things. And we have more than 1.5 lakh startups registered who are a part of the ecosystem, and many of them are able to access markets for meeting their capital requirements also.
Indian actor Mithun Chakraborty will receive the country's highest award in the field of cinema, the Dada Saheb Phalke Award. India's Information and Broadcasting Minister Ashwini Vaishnav shared the news on social media platform X. The minister said that Chakraborty, popularly known as Mithunda, will be felicitated at the 70th National Film Award ceremony on 8th October.
The Dada Saheb Phalke Award is like I'm dumbfounded now. I cannot laugh, cannot cry with happiness also. It's so big. I'm still taking time to digest it.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Mithun Chakraborty on being conferred the Dada Saheb Phalke Award. In a social media post, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, that he was delighted that Mithun Chakraborty has been conferred the prestigious Dada Saheb Phalke Award, recognizing his unparalleled contributions to Indian cinema. Lauding the actor, the PM said, he is a cultural icon admired across generations for his versatile performances. NASA and SpaceX spacecraft carrying Crew 9 astronauts Nick Hague and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunov reached the International Space Station on Sunday, aiming to bring astronauts Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore back to Earth. The two astronauts, originally set to return on Boeing's Starliner capsule, have been stuck on the ISS since June after the aircraft suffered technical malfunction and the return was cancelled and the Starliner returned to Earth unmanned. The astronauts are now expected to return in February next year.
They are now in an orbital nighttime.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India Live. You can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen now to download it. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.